And we are live. Awesome, we are live. So, welcome everyone. Please, as you join, ensure you share the invite link. But before then, let's have a brief countdown timer to get us started while we share the link. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's session. We are live. As you join in, please ensure you share the link, get the link to this live stream by simply clicking the share icon on your YouTube. You're going to find the share icon when you click the three dots. So once you click the share icon, copy the share button, copy the share link, and post it on your WhatsApp status, post it to mutual groups. Please tell everybody to join in. Please tell everybody to join in. We are going to be starting pretty soon. So we are going to have a brief wait period of, say, 5 minutes. I believe you guys can see the in call chat messages. So you can just use that to type if you have, any inquiries or anything. Yeah, I can see you guys saying your greetings right there. Awesome. You can keep your greetings coming, while we wait a bit for other persons to join. Please, we are going to be starting pretty soon. As you join in, please share the link and get everybody coming into the right session. We are going to be starting pretty soon. Let's give it a brief moment. So in the meantime, let's play some background music while we wait for other persons to join us. Let's play some background music. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. If you are just joining the live stream, you are welcome to this live stream. We are going to be talking about getting started with Git and GitHub. It is a live stream by BlockchainUNN, which is Blockchain University of Nigeria. So we are going to be starting in a few minutes time. That is 4 minutes from now. So ensure as you come in, do ensure you take your seats, have your writing materials, your notepad, and have a mind ready to learn. We are going to learn this evening. So ensure as you come in, share the link across, get everybody joining to the session. We want to see a lot of persons benefiting from the knowledge we are going to be teaching here. So we're going to start at exactly 3 minutes from now. So please, as you come in, share the invite link, share the invite link, share the invite link, click the share button and share the link to this live stream. Let's get everybody coming in. Let's share the link across to your WhatsApp status, mutual, crypto, blockchain, school groups. Let's get everybody coming in so that they can learn from today's session. We are going to be talking about a lot of things. So let's ensure that we get everybody coming in. In the meantime, let's enjoy some background music. Hey, and good evening, everyone, once again. Let's start proper. My name is Okoye Kevin Chiboyim, the co-founder of BlockchainUNN, popularly known as Ezemo Blockchain, and I welcome you to tonight's session. This is a series of educational series which we are going to be doing at BlockchainUNN, targeted towards raising developers, both Web2, Web3 developers. And each week we are going to be looking at an exciting topic, and we are going to have hands-on experience where you get to see these things done practically, even as we read documentation and get to learn a lot. So I welcome you to today's session. There is a chat button, a chat bar right there on your YouTube. You can actually utilize that to ask questions. You can actually utilize that to keep the conversations going. Yes, I can see your conversations going. If you are in this live stream right now, I just want to give you a shout out, and I want you to reply back. Please use the chat button and just reply I am live. Just reply with I am live. I want to see your responses coming in. Just type I am live in the live chat button box right there, so that I can actually interact with you. Awesome. I can see your responses. That's perfect. So tonight we are going to be talking about getting started with Git and GitHub. A lot of software developers and blockchain developers. Yeah, I can see your responses. Trader Miracle, Raphael Ugu, Kizito, David, Isioma Olai, Chidebele Divine. Awesome people. Awesome people. Anthony, Moses, Usman Shadrach, Haman, Akim. I can't even count everybody. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. I can see you guys coming in great numbers. Please keep it coming. Keep it coming. And don't forget, as you join in the live stream, Ensure you are sharing the link across. Share the link across. Let's get everybody committing. So as I was saying, today we're going to be looking at Git and GitHub. We are going to be looking at Git and GitHub. So what is Git? What is GitHub? We are going to be exploring these things today, and we are going to have a practical hands-on experience. So welcome once again, and ensure you stick to the end of the session because you are going to learn a lot. And like I said, for it to be more interactive, ensure you use the chat section more often. If you are confused on anything as we go forward, you can use it to ask for questions and all that. And we have with us today Mr. Darlington. Darlington is a Web2 and Web3 engineer. He is a blockchain developer as well as a front end. In short, he is a full stack, developer. He's the blockchain community lead, the dev community head at BlockchainUNN. So he's both a front end, back end, and he's full stack. So he's going to be helping us to understand Git and GitHub today. Darlington, could you please unmute your mic and introduce yourself?
Okay, guys. Yeah, good evening. Good evening, everyone. So, I'm Darlington. Yeah, so like Kevin just said, I'm a full stack blockchain developer, and today we'll be taking a deep dive into Git and GitHub. Okay, so in a minute I'll just be sharing my screen, sharing my slides with you guys.
Awesome. Thank you very much for introducing yourself, Darlington. Like he said earlier, is a full stack developer. And if you are not in our dev community, please ensure you try to join there so that you can actually keep up with the community. So we are going to be starting right away as Darlington will share his screen and continue from here. I'm going to be here moderating, okay? So can you guys see Darlington's screen? He's sharing his screen now, please. If you can see his screen, just type in the chat section with "I can see your screen." If you can see his screen, type with "I can see your screen." If you can see his screen, type in the chat with "I can see your screen." Let me see your responses coming in, please. If you can see Darlington's screen, type in that chat section right there with "I can see your screen." Awesome. I can see your responses coming in. I've seen Mr. Mark. Mr. Mark says I can see it. Anthony says I can see it. Olubumi Olusheyi says I can see your screen. Yes. Please, if you can see the screen, share. Just indicate in the chat. Awesome. Mr. LOL says I can see your screen. TJ, Emmanuel, Usman, Taylor, Chidebele. Awesome. So Darlington, they can see your screen. Please proceed.
Okay, guys. Yeah. So good evening once again. So we'll be getting started shortly. So like I said today, we'll be taking a deep dive into getting started with Git and GitHub. So I just prepared a little slide. Most of what we'll be doing today will be mostly practical, but I prepared a little slide to like guide us through the process. So before we start, I would like to um show us the differences between Git and GitHub. So a lot of us are new into the whole development space, and thus far from the BlockchainUNN development group chat, we've mostly been using GitHub. So I remember when we talked about Git, someone was asking, okay, I installed this and that, why should I install Git again? So yeah, Git and GitHub, they are basically very different stuffs, though they are similar in name. So they are two different things. So Git is an open source version control tool which was created in 2005 by the same developers who are working on the Linux operating system. While GitHub is like a company that was founded in 2008 that makes tools which integrate with Git. So while Git itself is the version control tool, GitHub like provides like a way to integrate these features. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So I want you to note one important thing. You do not actually need GitHub to use Git, but you cannot use GitHub without Git. I don't know if you get that. You do not need GitHub to use
Could you
Git.
say that again slowly? You
Yeah.
mentioned something right now that just catches my attention. Could you say that again
So
slowly?
you do not actually need GitHub to use Git, but you cannot use GitHub without Git. So Git basically is like the version control system, the whole operating the whole software behind GitHub. So basically you cannot use GitHub without using Git, but you can use Git without using GitHub. I don't know if you get that. So
So please,
basically
I
the
want you guys
other, yeah.
I want you guys to take that, take note of that thing he just said right now. Very, very important tip that will help you. That you cannot use Git without GitHub. I don't know if I'm actually confused to an extent. Could you say it again so somebody can actually write it down? I suppose some of you are writing
Okay.
with your notepad. So you do
Yeah,
not
so
need,
I said
I've seen it on the
GitHub.
screen. You do not
Yeah,
need GitHub to use Git, but you cannot use GitHub without Git. I want you to
yeah,
take note of
exactly.
that. Maybe write it on your notepad, that you do not need GitHub to use Git, but you cannot use GitHub without Git. Thank you very much. Please proceed.
Okay, so like I said, the other alternatives to GitHub, like the other alternative softwares like created by other companies that also make use of Git behind the scenes. We have companies like Bitbucket, we have companies like GitLabs, and there are also more out there that they make use of the Git version control system. But mostly what they do is the essence like facilitate easy sharing of your codes with others. So basically, you notice most times when we want to help you debug your codes or something, we'll say, okay, share to GitHub and like share the link with us or something. Like GitHub facilitates easy sharing of your codes with others. You get. So there are basically some. So today we'll be running through some basic Git actions. We'll be going through some basic Git actions, and we have limited time, but we'll see how far we can go. So we'll be looking at the basic CLI commands. So before now, I told us on the group chat that would need to like install a command line interface to like actually make use of Git, and we talked about Git Bash. So basically we'll be looking at the basic command line interface commands like CLI commands that you would need to actually like flow well with Git. We'll be initializing a local Git repository. So we'll be initializing, we'll create a folder and we initialize a local Git repository in it. Then we'll be staging, and we're talking about staging and commit their differences. So we'll be talking about branching also. How does branching help in version control? We'll also be looking at how to create a GitHub repository and push your codes there. So basically the major difference, like we've been talking about since we started, is that okay, you use Git locally in your system. So let's say you want to push those codes to like a public repo where people can have access to that. You would have to like use GitHub for that. So we'll be doing that. We'll be creating a repository and we'll be pushing our codes there. So we'll also be looking at forking and cloning. So forking and cloning are some basic GitHub practices that are very necessary to that we understand. We'll also be looking at pull requests. So for those who a lot of us will be going into open source contribution, which is actually very necessary. We would need to understand how pull requests are done. We need to understand what pull requests are, and if time permits us, also we'll be taking a look at how to write a good README. So
Yeah,
I don't know how.
before Darlington continues, I just want to reiterate, some persons are using YouTube live stream for the first time, but I want to mention something. If something is being presented on the screen and you cannot see it clearly, what you can basically do is tap on there's a wheel icon that you see there, that is the settings. Once you tap that wheel icon, which is the settings, you are going to find a setting where you can change the screen resolution that you can see on your screen. So what you should basically do, let me quickly access it on my phone so I can tell you what to do exactly. Tap the three dots you can see there. Uh, just go to the live stream and click that wheel icon. Once you click that wheel icon, you're going to see where it's written quality. So choose the higher quality picture, which is, don't use auto. It's on auto by default. So on auto, when your network is bad, it's going to reduce the screen resolution. So to get the best screen quality, I can see some people saying the screen is not clear in the chat. That's why I'm mentioning this. Choose 720p directly. Don't leave it on auto. Just choose 720p. So in case you're having the issue where the screen is not clear from your end as he's presenting his screen, what you should basically do is tap the wheel icon, which is the settings for the video quality. Once you tap that settings, check the video quality and change it from auto to higher picture quality, which is 720p. I hope that is gotten. Yeah, Darlington, they equally mentioned that you are rushing somewhat. So please try to slow it down a bit so they can actually follow you. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. I was just trying to make sure we actually meet up with the our specified time. So I'll try to slow things down a bit. So okay, we'll be getting started with looking at basic command line interface, as in basic CLI commands. And I'm hoping that before now we've gone through the process of installing Git and Git Bash, because most of what we'll be doing today will be using Git Bash. So I want to I want to think that majority of us already have Git and Git Bash installed. So we're looking at basic CLI commands. The basic command line interface is commands that every developer needs to know in order to like use Git successfully. So let me turn on my Git Bash. Let me open my Git Bash. Okay. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen. Can you guys still see his screen? Please type in the chat if you can see his screen. Type, I can see your screen. If you can still see Darlington's screen, type, I can see. Maybe you can increase it's too small, it's too tiny. Increase
Tiny.
the size. Yeah. For me, I can say it. But if you guys can say it, please type in the chat with I can say it, or yeah. Type, you can say it so that we can confirm why he's trying to increase it. So you can rewatch. Somebody's asking, is it recorded? It's already recorded once it's on YouTube live stream. Okay, so you don't. It's already recorded. You can come back to watch it at any time. So yeah, everybody says they can see your screen. So please try to zoom it so that we can see it better.
Okay, so this is better, right?
Yeah, this is much better from my end here.
Okay, can you guys please confirm in the chat that you can see this more clearly?
If this screen size is clear for you, please type in the chat that it's clear. If it's clear enough from your end, from here it is very clear from my end. So if it's much better now, please type it is better now. If it is better now, please type it is all right. Okay, I can see the responses. Oh, Oluseyi says
Okay,
it's better. Yeah, it's clear. It's clear. And like I
okay,
said,
so
what he's presenting on the screen is blurry on your end. If it's blurry on your end, you have to work on the video quality settings. And how to do that when you are on YouTube is to click the wheel icon, which is the settings for the video quality. So once you click that wheel icon, you see where it's written quality and then change it to 720p. It's on auto by default. Change it from auto to 720p or higher quality. Yeah. Okay. They say it's clear. Please proceed.
okay, so we'll be moving on. So we'll be going through the basic CLI commands. So I have a few of them listed here. Okay, I have a few of them listed here. So the first command we'll be basically looking at is the Pwd command. So this command is mostly used for printing your current working directory. So I would show you what I mean now. So let's say I wanted to print my working directory. This is my working directory. Once I type pwd and I hit enter, you could see my working directory, which is cuser/darlington/desktop. blah blah blah. So that's how we can print our working directory using the pwd command. Then the second command we'll be looking at is the cd command. So the cd command is usually used to change or navigate within directories. So it's very important for changing or navigating within directories. So this is what I mean. So I have my projects folder. I have a folder in my directory, in my working directory, called Build Git tutorial. So let's say I want to change into Build Git tutorial. I can simply type cd and Build Git to tutorial, and I hit enter. You could see I've been moved into the Build Git tutorial. So this is just like the way you move within folders in your command line. You use you move within folders in your file explorer for Windows users, or so use the cd command to change directories from one folder to another. Use the cd to navigate within directories. So the next command we'll be looking at basically is the ls command. So this ls command is usually used to like list files and folders in your current directory. So let's say you want to list all the files, you want to check out the files in this directory. You simply type ls. Once you type ls, it will show you the list of files in my current directory. So you could see that we have the index.html here, and we also have the styles.css here. So these are all the files in my current directory. So we also have the touch command. So the touch command is a very important command. It's usually used for creating a new file. So let's say you want to like create a new file in your current working directory. You use the touch command. So let's say I touch slash git.html. Once I click enter, that file will be created. So to confirm that the file is created, we could simply do ls, and you can see the git.html file here. So you could confirm that the touch command is used for creating new files. So we'll also be looking at the make directory command, the mkdir command. This command is very self-explanatory. It's used to create a new directory. So let's say we want to create a new directory. Let's go out of this, and let's say we want to create a new directory called Git tutorial. Once we click enter, that folder will be created. So to navigate back into the folder, we could do cd and git to tutorial, and you can see we've gone into this git tutorial, the git tutorial folder. So let's create new files, the same files that was in the previous folder. So let's create the index.html file, and let's also create the styles.css file. So on creating these files, okay, sorry about that. Um, okay. Something went wrong. Sorry, please let me figure out what's wrong. Okay, guys, sorry, please. I had to go out. My terminal froze, so I had to go out and come in again. So let me just go back to our previous. Okay. Okay, guys. So sorry about that. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. So let's go back into the Git tutorial folder. So if we do ls, we can see that we have index.html file, the styles.css file, and then a new file, the styles.css clear. That was actually a mistake, but you could see we created those with the touch command. So
Can you increase the size a little bit more? Just a little bit.
okay, the font size.
Yeah.
So this is perfect,
Per-
right?
yes, perfect.
Okay. So we've been looking into our next command. So the next command we'll be looking into is the rm command. So this command is usually used to delete a file. So we'll be looking at the next two commands together, the rm command and the rmr command. So the second r you can see there, the hyphen r means recursive. So you could see the recursive is usually used to delete a directory and all its content. So we use the rm to delete a single file, but when you want to delete a directory with a lot of content in it, you have to add the recursive, the r there. It means that it should continually delete till like the whole folder is cleared. So let's try that. So let's remove
A quick
let's remove the
question. Question.
styles.
Is
Okay.
directory the same? Is directory the same with folder?
Yeah. A directory is same as a folder.
All right, cool.
Directory is same as a folder. Okay. Yeah. So we want to clear the styles.css clear file, which was created by a mistake. So once we type rm styles.css clear and we click enter, the file will actually be cleared. And to confirm that the file is cleared, we could actually check ls again. Ls means list all the files in the current folder or in the current directory, and we could see that the styles or css clear folder is not currently there. So let's say we want to delete the whole git tutorial as in folder. So let's go out of it. You can't stay inside the folder to like delete it. So if you go out while inside the project folder now, I want to delete git tutorial and all its content, you could simply type remove, then recursive, and say delete git tutorial. So once you click enter, Git tutorial folder and all its contents will be removed. So you can see if we list all the folders in this folder, you can't find the Git tutorial there. So there's a build Git tutorial, but the Git tutorial file is no longer there. So then we have the clear command. The clear command is usually used to like clear your terminal. So let's say your terminal is full, like the way my terminal is now, I don't particularly like it this clunky. So let's say I want to clear the terminal, I use the clear command, and once I hit enter, my terminal is cleared. So that's just basically it. We also have the cp command, which is used to copy a file from one directory to another. Because of time, we won't be looking into that. You could just check up on that later. So let's go into initializing a local Git repository. So to get started using Git, I forgot to say this earlier, but to get started using Git, you don't necessarily need to be like a badass developer, like a very good developer. Any normal person, like any normal developer that just understands this basic command line interfaces, commands that we just looked into now could actually use Git. So in the previous slide, we went over different commands you can use in the terminal. Like I said earlier, the terminal commands, it makes your Git workflow faster and easier, and you don't need to bother about this PDF. If you are on the BlockchainUNN developers group, I'll be sharing the PDF later once we are done with the session. So, okay, so over to initializing a local Git repository. So let's say I want to I want to start using Git in project, my project directory or my project folder. I'll need to initialize it first. And to initialize it, we use the command git init. This command here, we use git init to initialize like to initialize Git in our working directory. So let's go back and let's practice all the commands we just learned now. So let's start with creating a new folder. So let's call this Git tutorial. So Git tutorial, then let's create some files. let's call this index.html, and let's call this style.css. And now we could initialize Git. So like I said earlier, to start using Git in your project directory, you need to type Git init to initialize it. Git init. Once you type Git init and press enter, you'll see it says initialized empty Git repository in this place. So basically, I just initialized an empty Git repository, and you can see I've been moved to the default branch, which is master. So we'll be looking at what master is soon enough. We'll be looking at what branches are. So master is like the default branch for Git on my laptop. For some other persons, it can be main. So, but we'll be looking at what branch is soonest. So now let's go over to the next stuff, which is staging and commits. So staging and commits, basically they are the basic building blocks of Git. Essentially, they are the basic building blocks of Git. If you understand how staging and commits work, you could actually use Git like a professional. You could use Git like on a professional, like basically that's what Git is made up of. So if you as a developer trying to understand Git, you it's necessary you understand how staging and commits work. So staging is a step before the commit process in Git. So it's just like adding a file to the staging area, which is just simply like telling Git, okay, I want you to track these files and that files. So let me explain this in more simpler terms. What we call staging area in Git is like, okay, so Git is a version control tool. It's used to monitor the changes in you make to your working directory. So let's say you've made some, let's say you're working on the index.html file and the styles.css file, but at this point in time, you are done with the index.html file, and you know this, you are ready to commit this and to push it to your GitHub repository or something. And the styles.css, you are yet to work on it, and you don't want Git to commit the styles.css file. You can simply use git add index.html file, and Git will just add the index.html file to the staging area. Let me explain what I mean. So we usually use git status to track files, to see what files Git is tracking. So basically the process of monitoring your files is what we call tracking in simple terms. So if we say git status, we click enter, we could see, oh sorry, this is not the right folder for this. Okay, so let's move into our Git tutorial folder again. Okay, so moving into our Git tutorial folder, let's list our files again to be sure. There's no files here. Wow,
I think
that means I made a mistake.
you put the files in projects folder.
Yeah, I just saw that now.
So I think
Guys,
you
sorry
have to
about
use
that.
that command that you left out earlier, which is to move files. I think you have to use it now so that we can get
Okay,
to a
so
hang of it.
let's go back and let's copy the files. I want to copy the index.html file to the Git tutorial folder. So we also want to copy the styles.css file to the Git tutorial folder too. So let's go back into the Git tutorial folder and sorry about that. CD projects slash tutorial. Okay, so we are here. So let's just clear our command first. And let's list the files. So we could see the index.html styles.css file. So I believe we understand how the copy command works now. So
Let's hear from the people in the call. Are we guys following? Did you understand how Darlington just copied from a different folder, which is projects, or a different what's it called? A different what's the other name for it? Is it repository or a
different
different
directory.
folder? Yeah, a
Folder, yeah.
a different folder into the Git tutorial folder. Do we understand how Darlington did it? Please type yes if you understand. Type yes in the comments if you understand what he did using the CP command, the CP keyword. He simply types cp, then the existing folder name where it is currently in. Then the next thing, he typed the name of the folder he wants it to be sent into. Please, do we understand this? Type in the chat segment. Type in the chat segment with yes if you understand. And if you don't understand, please feel free to mention, as we are also going to clarify it. So if you understand, type yes. If you don't understand, type no. Okay. But Ayomide John says he understands. He said, yes, I understand how to copy from the project directory into the Git tutorial directory. Awesome. Raphael Ogu says he understands. And the command is from cp index.html, then into Git tutorial. Awesome. I can see your responses. If at any point you are lost, feel free to mention in the chat and we will look at it again. Okay, some persons are saying no, that their network was hanging, so do copy again, please. Okay, I can see like 4 no's. So Darlington, I think let's just do it again and not just be too fast. Let's do it again to see how to copy from one folder into another folder. So please just hang on, don't code yet, just be listening and learning. Okay, one way you can learn is after this session you come back and watch the video, but as you're in the session you get first of all hands-on experience. So don't ensure to leave and come back to watch. Ensure you are here learning. Don't be coding at the same time, just listening so you can get how these things are done. Because if one thing about code is, if you leave it a few minutes type pressing your phone or doing any other thing, you are going to get distracted and you won't be able to follow up. So please don't code and just focus on what we are doing right now. So Darlington, some persons understand and some persons said they didn't understand how you copied from that folder into the other folder. So please, can you do it again?
Okay, sure. So let's copy back from this folder. So let's copy back from this to, okay, we already have okay. What's going to happen is
I
let's
think just
go back
explain it
into the project folder.
explain it in like 3 steps. Say the first thing, you write this, then you write this, then
Okay.
you write this.
So okay, so going back into our ls folder, we have some folders or directories here. Then we have an index.html. So let's get into I'm looking for, okay. So let's create a file here. Let's first create a file here that we would need to copy. So let's call this readme.md. Let's call this readme.md. And let's say we want to copy this file, want to copy readme.md from project folder to the Git tutorial folder. This is what we are going to do. So we are going to write cp, which stands for copy. Then we'll list as in write out the name of the file we want to copy, and lastly the folder we are copying into. So we are saying copy readme.md and Git tutorial. So once I click enter, it has automatically copied the readme.md file from here into the Git tutorial folder. So now if we move into the Git tutorial folder and we list the files that are here, you can see now we have the readme.mb file. So I hope you understood that, right? So I hope that was properly understood
Yeah,
now. So
I
because
think this
yeah, okay.
this is under this is understandable. But I think one thing you just need to do now, because I can see some persons don't even understand the fundamentals from the comments I'm seeing. They are saying, what is the meaning of CLI that you keep mentioning? And do you use this Git bash to write codes or what? So I think this is the fundamental thing. Let's clear this up, and I think they will be able to
Okay.
follow up from now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so okay, to do this, let's get back into the beginning, the introductions. So someone asked if we use Git bash to write codes, right? Well, we don't use Git bash to write codes. What terminals are like? Okay, I would explain this in let me try to break this down in simple terms. So most of us, we use a laptop. It can be the most popular operating systems are Windows. We have Windows, we have Linux, we have Mac OS. So basically, these companies who create this for you, they try to like create beautiful user interfaces that you could use to, okay, let's say I want to go to watch a video. I can go into my file explorer and look for the movie I want to watch, and I would play it. While you do all these things on a user interface, behind the scene there's something happening. So that stuff happening is like you are interacting with the operating system. So while you carry out those interactions with the user interface you are seeing, you are like basically calling some command line some commands in the terminal. So basically those commands in the terminal are being called behind the scene for every actions you take. So a lot of persons don't particularly like using Linux because they say Linux is very confusing, and a newbie can't particularly use it. Yeah, it doesn't have a very nice user interface. When it comes to user interface, most person prefers to go for either Mac OS or Windows. So, but the whole point is that while all these stuffs happen, while you are interacting with the UI, there are certain commands that are being carried out in the terminal. So we could say the terminal, I'll define the terminal as a means by which you interact with the OS you are using, the operating system you are using. So basically, when we write commands to the terminal, we are just like how do I put it? So we are trying to like speak to the operating system. We are trying to interact with the operating system. So that's basically what we mean. So, but when it comes to writing codes, the codes you run on your browser, or you run your mobile apps on, we do that using code editors, what we call code editors. So code editors are like, you talk about Visual Studio Code, we talk about Sublime Text, some persons use Notepad plus plus, you have JetBrains and a whole lot of other stuff. So those stuffs are what you call code editors. But command line interfaces are used to interact with the operating system. So when we do most of all these stuffs, we are just interacting with our operating system. I don't know if we get that.
Yes, as he clearly explained, what CLI is in simply means command line interface, and it's the same thing like your terminal. Terminal basically is how you interact with the operating system. It's just like a back end, if I should call it. Everything you are doing on every website has a back end, right? So command line interface or the terminal is like a back end for you to interact with the operating system. So most things you do on your phone, most things you do on your laptop, you don't see what's happening behind, and the behind is where the main thing is happening. So with the command line interface or the terminal, you are able to actually do the real deal, where you can change a lot of things, like creating of these files. An example is creating of these folders and files is doing now. When you go to your file explorer, you can create a folder, right? You see how beautiful it is. It's very easy. Just click on create a folder. When you go to your file explorer, you can create a folder and name it anything. It's very simple, but you can see right here in the command line or the terminal where he currently is, he's creating folder, shifting, copying and pasting. All those things you usually do on your laptop, copy and paste, copy from this folder into this folder, creating new folder, deleting of new folders. This is exactly the same thing he's doing on the command line. So that's the use of the command line and Git Bash. So CLI or the terminal, every laptop usually has their own terminal, right? Every laptop has it. On Git or on Mac operating system is there, MacBook is there, on Windows laptop is always there. So there's the default command line interface. Do you understand? Every laptop has it. Then Git Bash is a special kind of command line interface too. Do you understand? It's another kind of terminal. It's just the same thing. Anything you are doing on Git Bash right here, you can do it on your terminal. But Git Bash has a lot of better features. That is why you need to use it. So with Git Bash, you are able to access Git. That's the clear difference. It is just the same command line interface or terminal, but this time you have the ability to use Git on it. So you can use the both. You can use Git Bash. You can use your normal laptop command line interface. Is that gotten delicious? I think that's the person that asked this question. So his deliciousness. I hope that's your question is clear now. Yeah, so Git Bash is used to interact with your operating system. So that clears your question. All right, so darlings, I think you can continue with the transfer. So please, to reiterate, we will not be going back and forth most times. You can just listen to the recording of this session. It's already recorded. Immediately the session ends, you have it again. So listen to it a second time and it will clear most of your questions. So if your question is something that you can just, if you missed the attending the session from the beginning, you can simply go over it again after the session ends to get a full hang of how all these things works, so that we'll be time conscious too, and also work on our batteries, because this is a laptop we are using. So please ensure you listen to the recording again, but ensure you are right here in the live stream, because it will help you get better experience and mention when you are confused or if anything is not clear, and we'll answer it ASAP, than when you're watching recording. You don't have the ability to ask questions anymore. So I hope it's clear. Yeah. Okay. Somebody says, do you have to use touch before you use CP? Touch is okay, darlings, I think you can answer that before you continue.
Okay, so Divine asked if you need to use touch, if you have to touch before you CP. So basically the reason why we had to do touch was we're looking for a file to copy. As you could see when I did ls, when I tried to list the contents of the project's directory, we could see only folders, and I did not want to copy a folder, I wanted to copy a file. So basically I just did touch readme.md to create a file we could like use to practice. So basically you don't need to do touch to do readme. So if you have a file already you want to copy, you just simply use the cp command. You specify the name of the file and the folder you want to move it to, and that's all. We don't need to do touch. So I hope that
Yes,
answers the question.
as simple as that. So touch is to create a new file. The same thing you do in your normal laptop, where you go to your file explorer and create a file. You can do it right here in your command line by simply using the touch command. So with touch, you've created a readme.md, and he listed all these things in this document, and it's going to be shared in the dev community. There's if you check the description of this live stream right now, you're going to find the links to our Telegram group and link to join our dev community. So you can simply do that, join the dev community, and he's going to share this to everybody right there. So the doc is going to be shared. Do you understand? The doc is going to be shared in the live, in the dev community, for you to go over it again and look at these commands so that you can familiarize yourself with them. Do you understand? So yes, that's the answer to your question, Unique. Instead of creating a folder the normal way, which is stress for a coder, you don't need to be going 1 through 3, start creating folder. You can use Git bash or your command line, or your, what's the other name for it, to create these things. Is that clear? Darlington, we can't see your screen anymore. Did you stop sharing? Darlington, are you there? Let me check. Oh my God. Okay. Darlington's laptop is having some technical issues, and unfortunately, his battery just went down. And give me a minute. Let me converse with him, and we'll let you know the latest update on how we proceed. Meanwhile, let's have some background sound. right. We are back. We are back. Please, if you can hear me, type in the chat with I can hear you. If you can hear me, type in the chat with I can hear you. If you can hear me, please type in the chat with I can hear you. Okay. I can see your responses coming. Awesome. Darlington, can you hear us? All right, I can see your responses. That E, Anthony, Unique, He's Delicious, Raphael. I can see your responses. Yeah, Darlington, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you.
Awesome. So sorry guys, we had a brief interruption, network interruption, not network actually, power issues, and Darlington's laptop just went off. But we are going to continue the session while we improvise by using documentation online instead of the doc that we prepared. But be rest assured, the doc is going to be provided in the WhatsApp dev community. Like I said, check the description of this call and you are going to find the link to just check the description and you're going to find the link to the dev community. Fill that form and you will join the dev community, and there you get access to the doc. So Darlington, what was the last thing we were doing, and what should we do now? What is the next thing, or should we just do question and answer? Yeah, Darlington, can you hear me? Darlington, can you hear me, please? I want to confirm that you can hear me. I'm not hearing your response. All right, we are trying to. Okay. Which one should I? Darlington, can you hear me? Seems he's having some technical issues with his device, but you rest assured, we are going to sort that.
Okay, yeah. Can you
Okay,
hear
you
me
can
now?
hear me. Yeah.
Okay. So, guys, I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah. So what's the next flow? I'm trying to bring up the link you sent. Meanwhile, you can be saying something while I try to bring that up. Okay, Darlington, you're up. You're up.
Okay. So, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, so we'll be using the slide from the product.blog hotspot Git introduction to proceed. So probably we'll still be having a part two of this session next week, so we could actually work on the more practical aspects. But for now, I think we should just like go through it and like give us an idea of what we'll be looking at by next week. Okay, so could you just scroll down a little?
I think we've talked about installing Git and creating GitHub. So
Yeah, we are.
let's see, where exactly are we looking at? Is it
So we are
commits
looking
or
at,
branch?
yeah, the staging environment. Yeah, somewhere here. Before here, okay, staging. No, go up. Okay. Yeah, here. So I was saying something about the importance of staging, importance of staging your files. So like I said something to recap back. So I was talking about how the staging area is like a means by which you tell Git, okay, I want you to track this file and this other file. So in case you want to be moving my codes to GitHub, or in case I'll be running a Git commit, okay, these are the files I want you to track. Thing. So basically we use to add files to the staging area, we use a command called git add. So you type git add and you add the file name to move these files to the staging area. So once you type git add and the file name, Git knows that okay, this is the file I want to like okay move to the staging area. These are the files I need to track. These other files probably are still yet to be completed and I don't need to track them. So that's just basically it. That's just staging explained in simple terms. So after you've added your files to a staging area, the last part you need the last part you need to do for you to get your files ready for pushing to your GitHub repository is committing your code, your files. So Git commit is like a way that Git uses to like track the different versions of your files. So basically we have what we call a commit history. So a commit history is like a history of all the commits you have made thus far for that particular working directory, for that particular folder that Git is tracking. So to commit your files, we use the command git commit and we add a message. I don't know if we can see this. So to create a commit here, you run the git command, git commit, then /m, the hyphen m, then you write your message about the commit. So we could see what was done here. So here we could see git commit and he wrote, this is my first commit. And once you click enter, Git will commit the files it finds in the staging area. You need to note that Git won't commit all your files, but it will commit the files you added to the staging area. So let's say from our previous working directory, that's the Git tutorial. So let's say I wanted to commit just the index.html and the styles.css, and I didn't want to like commit the readme.md. I'll just add the index.html file and the styles.css file to my staging area. So once immediately I run the git commit and maybe I say, okay, this is the first iteration of my website, you Git would add this, as in Git will commit these files. It will create a commit of the index.html and the style.css, but it will ignore the readme.md because it was not added to the staging area. So but in a case where you want to add all the files to the staging area, and you feel like all your files are ready for commit, you could do that using the git add -a command. So most of what we'll be doing would basically be oral, but by next week we'll be looking at the practical aspect of these commands we are talking about. So use the git add -a command to like add all your files to the staging area. And once you do something like that, Git knows that okay, when I'm committing, I'm going to like commit all the files added to the staging area. So yeah, the highlighted stuff now, the stuff Kevin just highlighted, is what you use to commit your files. So basically, once you create a commit like this, Git knows okay, these files now, Git is now basically like tracking these files, and you could actually upload these files to your GitHub repository. So we'll actually be calling it a quit here because the pushing to a GitHub repository part would not be very convenient to do without like a practical hands-on session. And I'm sorry about the glitches we faced today. So by next week, we'll be looking at a more practical hands-on session, and we'll also be studying how to create a new branch. So basically, yeah, before we go, let me just explain what branches are. So initially, when we started, I said Git is a version control system. So basically, what a version control system does is it's in a layman language, I could say it enables you like arrange your files, create as in track your files, arrange your files in a whole proper manner. So this is what Git branches do. Git branches does now. So let's say for example, I was working let's say I was working on a particular branch, the master branch, that's the main branch. I told you earlier that um it can be a main, it could be a main branch or another system, but for mine it was the master. So the master is my main branch. So let's say I was working on the master branch, and I was looking to like, okay, I wanted to add a new change or a new feature to my site, but I'm afraid that once I add this feature, it might actually break my existing code. So in what way can I do this? If you ask a lot of developers, there are times when you might be working on a code, and basically you just added one feature and your whole code just breaks and you're just confused and you can't actually track where that change or where the change you made that caused that breaking, you can't particularly track where it happened. So that's what branches does basically. So this is how branches work. So let's say I was working on the master branch, and I wanted to add a new feature to my codes in the master branch, but I don't want a case where I'll just add the codes and it will just, the whole thing will just scatter and I don't know where the errors are coming from. What I could possibly do is I'll create a branch of the I'll create a branch. So a branch is like a branches allow you to like move back and forth between the state of a project. So this is what that language means. So I could like say in a layman language, what branches allows you to do is like it copies your previous progress into a new, like a whole new directory. So let's look at it like working directories in your, let's say working directories in your system. So it's just like you were working on the Git tutorial folder and you decided to branch out to a new folder entirely, and you decided to copy all the files we were working on previously into that new folder to continue adding new changes there. So the whole idea is, okay, if I add this new feature and it breaks, well, I don't need to cry because I basically am safe. I also have my previous as in project there, it's untouched. So I still have a code that is still working. I just created a new one to add a new feature. So that's how basically works. Basically that's how branches works basically. So like it's a lightweight movable pointer to one of these commits. So exactly. So when we talk about branches also, when we talk about branches, we could also say branches is like I said, you just create different folders. So let's say after you added the new feature you wanted to add to the new branch you just created. So let's say I was working on the master branch and I wanted to add a new feature called the navbar. So I could okay, create another branch called the navbar branch, and I branched into the navbar branch, and it stored my previous progress, and I want to build upon that previous progress. And let's say I added the navbar features and everything was working normally, everything was okay. You would ask, okay, how can I carry this how can I carry these changes I just made now back to my main branch? Because when you are working, you want your work to, you don't want to create so much branch. So it's normally advisable that once you branch out and you add a new feature and everything is working fine, when you want to stage, as in you want to add your files to the staging area to commit them or to push them to GitHub, you would want to like move everything back to the master branch, to the main branch. So to do that, there's a command called Git Merge. There's a command called Git Merge for like merging branches. So we might not particularly understand this. I don't expect you to understand this clearly yet. I just want us to like have a basic idea of what we'll be looking at going forward. I want us to just have
Yeah,
a
and I
basic idea.
think I'm going to show you how this works too. I'll present this. I'll just take you to our BlockchainUNN GitHub account so you can just get a general overview of how it works. Although we're not going to write the code or do anything like that, but you will understand it practically. In essence, what Darlington is saying, first off, about commits, is that first of all, after you've done everything you want to do, after you've written your code, you stage it, then commit it to commit the stuff, what you basically do is you just write git commit minus m, and then you put a message in the box. So what committing does is it pushes it. Okay, I saw somebody's question. Let me attend to that before I bring this so it will actually clear up. So somebody says, so GitHub is basically for creating folders, which is directories, and placing files inside those directories. No, what GitHub basically is in simple terms, it's just like a file explorer, a mega file explorer that is online, where you can store code and all that online. Do you understand? That is what GitHub is in layman's language. So in that file explorer where you have your code, you can store folders. You know how your file explorer looks in your laptop. You can store folders, you can store files, you can store all these things right there. So that is what GitHub rightly is. It stores code only for develop. It's majorly for storing of code and all that. It's a file explorer. Do you understand? So, and to store things in that file explorer normally on your laptop, you actually have to pass through creating, deleting, copy paste, all those things in the normal laptop method in your normal file explorer. But here you have commands that can assist you do the process very fast. So for instance, now I am the document that Darlington is using. Let me use doc for instance. The document Darlington was using to present. Now that document, it's like a version. When you type, if you are using WPS, or you have been using Google Drive, or anything like any online stuff, as you are typing, it's saving. Do you understand? As you are working on something, it's saving automatically. I want you to get the picture very well. As you're working on something, it's saving it automatically. So there are versions. Do you understand? There are versions to all these things. So each time you type or each time you work, it's saving. Like there are some that are put for every 10 minutes. You understand? For instance, when you're working in Microsoft Excel, it saves it every 10 minutes. So each of those things is what we refer to as commits. If you want to understand it that way, it's what we refer to as commit. So each time that you write code and you want to save it, you have to do what we call commits. Do you understand? If you want to save your work after you have written your code in your laptop and you want to push it to the online file explorer or the online file explorer to save it, you have to commit your code. You understand? So that is what Git Commit does. It pushes your code online. That is the version that you have been working on. So that is what Git Commit does. Then branching is just talking about where do you want it saved. Where do you want it saved? So if you want it saved, like say you have like two branches. You know what branch is now? Branch is something like you know how a tree branches. There is usually something that comes straight, then corners this side, the other one corners the other side too. So you can have like two branches. So if you want it saved on the first one, most times the first branch is usually called master branch. If you have it into crypto and blockchain, you know what is called Genesis block. That is the main block that goes through. So when you talk about forking, for people that are into crypto, forking is not like creating another branch. You are creating another branch. So people will no longer have to follow the main one. They will not follow the new branch you've created. So in coding too, or in GitHub, we have what we call branches. So the main one by default is usually called master branch. But as Darlington was writing code, he saw it on his laptop when he initialized GitHub, it was in master branch. So you can actually shift it from master. If you don't want to be saving everything on master, you can shift it to another branch. So if you want to commit, you can be committing into a different branch. Then later, you will now push all of them into your master branch. That is with merge command. You can now merge it into the master branch. Do you understand? So that is what it basically means. So committing is not like saving your work. The version that you have worked on right now, you want to save that version before you go off. You can commit it, that's pushing it online, because whatever thing you're writing on your laptop is local. It's not online. It's not on GitHub. When you push it to GitHub is when you have committed. So you first of all stage, then you commit. It's just like two things you do. You stage, then you commit. When you commit it, that means you have saved it online. Then branching is like, where do you want it saved? So by default, it's usually saved in the master branch. But if you want, you can change it to the other branch. Let me share a screen so you can get. Give me a minute so you can get this very clear. Let me share our BlockchainUNN GitHub account so you can get this clear. Can you all see my screen? Please notify if you can see it. If you can see my screen clearly, I'm trying to share our GitHub account. If you can see it clearly, please type I can see it. If you can see my screen clearly, please type I can see it. I want to show you something for you to fully understand this thing, although we are not going to do the live practical. If you can see my screen clearly and you can see a GitHub account shown there, please type I can see it. Can you see it? Please type in the chat that you can see it. Let me show you how this looks, what all these things that we've been saying looks like. Is there a white version? Let me see if there is a white. Darlington, how do I get the light version of this? I can only see the dark.
Okay, yeah, may actually use the dark version too, but I think you could change it in the settings. Go to the settings, your settings. Click on the account icon, your settings. Okay. Not this. Yeah, go back to the you see settings down. Go down to the settings.
I've seen it.
Okay, appearance. You can see appearance there. Check appearance. Yeah. Yeah. So
right.
yeah.
Is it clearer now, guys? Let's go back. I'm back. Can you see my screen now clearly? Please indicate in the chats. Okay, good. It's clearer now. I've put it on white. So this is a BlockchainUNN GitHub account. Please ensure you follow. When you go to the GitHub account, click on this place that I've followed it already. So if you go there, you see what is written as follow. How you can get our GitHub account is, look at it here, github.com. Let me copy it and type it again so you can see. So if you want to get our account, what you basically type is github.com/blockchainUNN. So go and follow this account. Go and follow this GitHub account. Follow this GitHub account. So once you get there, that's our GitHub account. So what I want to show you right now, these are repositories. I don't know if we talked about repositories, but I don't think. All these things you are seeing here, repository is like a folder. Do you understand? The master folder is like a repository. So these are our repositories. Look at it, 6 repositories right here. 6 repositories, but an overview will still give you all the repositories. So you can see BlockchainUNN website task 2022, FB5, Icon Hackathon, Web3 Bridge, all these things, they are all there. Do you understand? So when you now go into this repository now, let's pick this one for instance. Follow me, please. Ensure you are following me. I want to show you something. Ensure you are following me. Okay, let me paste the GitHub URL in the chat section. You can see it in the chat. I've just pasted it right there for you. Well, let's go back to what I was saying. Ensure you are following me. Look at this place that they wrote main. Can you see where my cursor is circling? This place they wrote main. That is what we refer to as branch. You can see that drawing that looks like a tree. That's the branch. So when you click on that main, you see the main branch. Do you understand? So some call it main, some call it master. I can create a new branch right here if I want. Do you understand? So this is what is referred to as branch on GitHub. So everything I'm writing to this code, if I commit anything, it is what sent to the main branch for this particular folder or for this particular what FB5 Icon Hackathon 2022. Anything I'm committing here, that is any save I'm doing right now, is being sent to the main branch. Do you understand? Then the next thing right now is the commit. Look at this thing. So we sent in this code on 21st of May. And how many commits? This 10 commits means that we have saved this code 10 times. Let me highlight it so you can see what I'm talking about. So these 10 commits you are seeing here, it means that we have saved this code 10 times. We've done like 10 things on it and saved it 10 times. And if you want to see your commits, you can simply type, click on 10 commits. You see everything that has been done. So this is a merge pull request that I did from Gina Kev. That is my account. So if you want to follow me on GitHub, you see, when you go to GitHub, github.com/Gina Kev, you find me right there. So these are commits. These are things I've done, saving things, working on things on this GitHub account. So these are commits. That's the meaning of commits, saving of your work into what? The branch. And this place is telling you that we have just one branch, which is main. So that's why if you click here, if there were more branches, you will see many branches listed here, but we have just one. So up here too, it's also telling you that we have one branch. Then all these things you are seeing here are the files that we have currently put there. So these are the files. that you normally have in your local file explorer in your laptop. When you now commit it, everything will now move from your laptop into GitHub, which is the main that is storing it online. Do you understand? So three things I'm trying to point out here is, number one is what? Committing is taking all these files. All these files were in my laptop, for instance. They were in my laptop. If you want to push them online to GitHub, you have to what? Stage it, then commit it. So once you commit it, it now comes up on GitHub into what? The main branch. So this is the README that he was talking about. README is like, what is the project about? So this is a project that we did when we went for FICON hackathon, where we built. So you can just, if you visit the GitHub account, you are going to find more details about this. Look at the projects here. Project team, Anne Lechko, Alvan, Gabriel, Mezerim, and this is the project demo link. Let me open it. That's by the way. So this is the main thing you just have to understand. It's as simple as ABC. So the about is the same thing as the readme. It copies the readme into the about. We are going to explore this very well next week. But the four things you have to understand here is he talked about a lot of things using your CL, your command line to do all these things. So from your command line, the next thing will be what? Committing. And what is the command to commit? Don't forget, I showed you in the previous slide. To commit is git commit minus m, then you put the stuff. Let me see if I can find one where I put a commit. Okay, let me show you one that has more than one this thing. Let me show you one that has more than one what's it called, more than one branch. So I moved this from Gambu, that is from Gabriel. Give me a minute, let me quickly find Gabriel's account. Okay, I've gotten Gabriel's account, Gambu. This is Gabriel's FICON, Gabriel's account. So if you check this right now, so look at this. I'm trying to show you like two branches so you can get this thing. Look at this place now that is written. Say you visit a repository. What you are meant to be observing is what? The first thing you are meant to be observing is how many commits they have, how many repository rather, how many branches that they've got. So the first thing you can see right here when you visit this guy's GitHub account is you see that they wrote two branches. So to see those branches, you have the main branch and then the FFI build with Filecoin branch. So there are two branches. And what does this branch do? Like I told you, branch is like where you want to save it. It's just like a folder somehow. So where do you want to save the thing in? So if you are committing right now, the first place is usually in main. So anything I'm writing on this code, if I want to push from my laptop into this branch right now, if I try to commit, it's going to the main. But if I want to switch it to FFI Beautify Coin, it's going to switch there and you see the things that are there. But before I do the switching, I want you to observe something. Inside this main branch, look at the only thing we have here is a readme.md file. And it says initial commit 3 months ago. It was done on the 2nd of April. One commit, that is all. Readme.md, that is all on the main branch. Take note of this key thing. Now, imagine I switch from this branch into this second branch, FFI build it Filecoin. Look at everything has changed. So look at this branch. Look at this branch. This branch has more files. It has a readme.md file, the authenticator.md file, HTML, form.html, index.html, CSS, style.css, and then it has more commits. Yeah, we have done like 9 commits on this one. So observe again. Let me switch back to the other branch. So the other branch has these files, only one file, readme.md. Then the other branch, FFI build it Filecoin, has this number of branches. Do you understand? So this is like a project. When we talk about branches, just understand it to be like where you want your stuff to be stored on. So you can create a new branch. This is not my GitHub account, so I can't create here. So that is basically what branching is. Let me quickly go back. Why is it not moving? So like I said, ensure you follow the BlockchainUNN GitHub account. Very, very important. If you go there, you see 6 repositories. Some are private. I don't know if you made anyone private. If you have not submitted your BlockchainUNN website task, please try to do that. Let me show you the works that some persons have done. Look at, I don't know if we talked about forking. Look at this place that they wrote. This thing that look like branch is what we refer to as fork. So 17 people have forked this thing. So I want to see those 17 people. That's the submission, people that have submitted their website task. So these are the 17 people that have submitted their website task. That is, they forked it and then they are saving their own work into that repository. So if you have not done yours, please try to fork this repository and submit your tasks. Ensure you are following the account. Don't forget. So that is that for this. I just wanted to show you how a GitHub account looks. So in case you have a GitHub account and you're confused on everything, this at least should clear your doubt to an extent. So first, when you go to your GitHub account, you have the repositories, or they will ask you to create a repository. If your account is empty right now, you'll be asked to create a repository. And when you go to the repository, you can see the number of this one now, it just has one branch. You can see one branch. And then any commit you are doing is being sent to this main branch. Whose account? Let me show you my GitHub account, Jinakef. So you can just simply search github.com/Jinakef and you'll find this. So this is that. That is that on, you know, how it looks. I hope it's clearer now. Do you guys understand this right now with this simple practical illustration I've shown you? If you understand, please type I understand. If you understand, type I understand in the chat. If this practical thing I've just shown you right now, although we didn't write code, but for you to understand it in simpler terms, if you understand it, please type I understand. And yeah, I noticed some people were creating an organization account. Please, you have to create an individual account on GitHub, not organization. So if you have not created your GitHub account, please ensure you are creating individual, not organization. Organization is for something like BlockchainUNN, an organization, not individuals like you guys. Do you understand? Let me post the GitHub account again. So it's there in the chat. And let me post. So follow that GitHub account. Follow that GitHub account. Very important. So yeah, let me answer your question. Somebody says, so any commit on Git Bash will show in your GitHub account. Yes, that is correct. Any commit you are doing there, so far as you have initialized your Git, is going to show there. That's why they told you Git is very important. What was that thing that Darlington said before? I posted it on.
Yeah, so let me come in here. Basically, when you create a commit on your local machine, it doesn't like particularly just automatically shows on your GitHub repository until you push the code. So the commit basically tracks it locally on the system, and once you just run the git push origin command, like it moves everything to your GitHub repository. So I don't know if you get. So the commit is locally on the system until you push it to your repository. Yeah.
Yes, so that is very correct. So most of these other things we are going to show you next week too, as we go much more technical. But I just want to reiterate something which Darlington said earlier. He said you cannot use GitHub without Git, but you can use Git without GitHub. I hope you now understand that statement, because you can see that with our Git account, that is on Git Bash, we are able to access GitHub. Do you understand? So that's the meaning of you cannot use GitHub without Git. For you to use GitHub, you must be able to use Git and know these commands, which is why we found it essential to look at how these commands work for you to understand it. So you cannot use GitHub without Git. Git is very important, but you can use Git without GitHub. So even if I don't log into my GitHub account, everything that I am doing here is going to work. I just log in now to show you, but the time we pushed all this code right there, it was just on Git. And it was not on, we didn't care to check on GitHub. So that's the meaning of you cannot use GitHub without Git, but you can use Git without GitHub. So we can be working on Git and not look at GitHub. Everything will still be working very well. Do you understand? So I think this has simplified, what Darlington said earlier to the most basic level of it. So with this, I think we'll come to the end of this session right here. And I thank everybody who has attended and stayed from the beginning until now. Please ensure that you are, in our dev community. That's number one, so that you keep in touch. Don't let the energy die. Ensure you are in our dev community to keep in touch, and make sure you are following us on Twitter. We are going to have Twitter spaces going forward after the hands-on experience sessions like this. Hands-on experience is the one that we are showing you everything in simple terms like we are doing now. So we're going to have those ones on YouTube. Then other sessions, we're going to have them on Twitter Space. So ensure you're following our BlockchainUNN Twitter account. You can see it there on the GitHub page displaying on the screen right now. You can see it right there. So you can see it is blockchain at BlockchainUNN. Follow that Twitter account at BlockchainUNN. Our Telegram group is right there on your screen too, using that link t.me/BlockchainUNN. You can also find it in the description of this call. So in the description, you can find that. Please ensure you like this video. I forgot to mention it earlier. Like. I want everybody to like this and subscribe if you've not subscribed. Very, very important to give us more reach and for more persons to know what we are doing. So ensure you like this live stream video as you are watching it. If you are coming back to rewatch it, please ensure you like and subscribe so that we can actually follow up with everything happening. If you have not watched our conference, it's right there in this YouTube account as well. So just check this YouTube channel. You're going to find our blockchain conference, which we held some few months back. So we thank you, Mr. Darlington, for taking out your time to explain all these things to us in simple terms, showing us how all these things work. We hope to have you next week, Monday, too. Everybody, ensure you don't miss this. Every Monday, mark it on your calendar, 8:30 p.m. West African time. We are going to have our weekly dev sessions, either on YouTube or on Twitter Space. So ensure you are with us every week. Thank you very much for attending. Darlington, any final words for the community?
Okay, yeah, you actually said it all. So finally, I thank you guys for staying till the end, and I wish that as many as are still left, you'd be present for the practical hands-on session that would be happening next week. So we'll be looking at Git and GitHub from the practical view. So it will help solidify your knowledge. And we also have a little assignment, but that would be till next week. So until that, I think we'd call it a day. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Darlington. Thank you myself too. I've been talking since like ages. So please ensure you, if you are not in our WhatsApp group, join there. After this session, please appreciate Darlington in the WhatsApp group. He did awesome. Appreciate me too, and appreciate BlockchainUNN for presenting you with this opportunity. Make sure you come back and listen to the recordings so that you can actually learn again. The best way to learn is by learning and learning and learning. So ensure you come back and listen to the recording, which is already present on our YouTube page, on YouTube channel. Visit the YouTube channel, listen to the recordings again to get better experience. And throughout this week, we are going to be dishing out a lot of things you have to do on the WhatsApp platform. So as you are there, don't just be an observer. Ensure you are participating. We are going to give you tasks this week, even before the next week own, where we will now give you the final work. But ensure you are, as you're in the group, Darlington is mapping out some things he's going to put out for you, to do in the dev community. So if you're in that WhatsApp group, he's going to drop some things for you from tomorrow that you have to do. We want you guys to test everything we've done today up to where Darlington stopped. I want you guys to test it and post your code. If you can do that this night, perfect. Or before Darlington drops it, try to create some files in your directory. Try to copy from your previous existing directory. Try to list, then take screenshots of them and post in the WhatsApp group. I want to see them to be sure that everything we've done this night is well solidified in your memory. So Darlington, let me quickly show you Darlington's GitHub account. Is here. So this is Darlington. Darlington is at Darlington 002. So simply type github.com. Look at it there. github.com /Darlington02. github.com /Darlington02, and you will get Darlington's GitHub account. So I think with this, we've come to the end of this session. Thank you very much for attending, and we hope to see you next week, Monday. And ensure you practicalize. Ensure you practicalize is the most important thing. The most important thing and best way to learn is by practicalizing. So everything we've done in this session, ensure you practicalize and show us that you are doing it. Put it in the WhatsApp group. We want to see everything that you are doing. Thank you very much for attending, and do have a lovely night rest ahead. Remember, appreciate the community. Appreciate BlockchainUNN in the WhatsApp group and everywhere. If you can make a tweet about this, even more perfect. Tag me on Twitter, tag Darlington, tag BlockchainUNN, and tell us what you learned. Do have a lovely night rest ahead, and goodbye.